right now it's World War II history class, and pretty much the whole class, there's like 3 graded papers. But other than that, it's just graded discussions with like 1 talking point.
Yeah.
And it's like the scope of what some of these kids think in college is mind-blowing. I would say over half of high school kids right now, or like new college-age kids in America, believe that America used nuclear weapons when we didn't have to for fun, just because we wanted to know if it would work.
Yeah.
They've never heard of the Holodomor. They think that communism's awesome. It's never done anything wrong. What else? I don't know. It's pretty much just trash.
It was wild to me, like my first big trip to DC, with all the small things I have going on. Being in a bar with people like talking about communism in a positive light in the capital of the United States. I am not fucking kidding you. It was the bar that like Obama was famous for taking like a huge drink of the beer out of, like that photo.
Okay.
Across the street, if you exit the bar, you're staring at it, is the Holodomor Memorial.
That wasn't real communism, though.
Oh, exactly. It's not real communism.
Today we're going to talk about Today we're going to talk about Nick doing
It'll be different when I do it, guys. I promise. It works out every fucking time. It's going to be different this time, though.
It's weird, like the Holodomor, like basically the Holocaust, but for Ukrainians that nobody talks about.
Yep. Oh,
because it's communism.
There was, like most people don't. Everybody thinks of like concentration camps. They just talk about Auschwitz. Auschwitz was like one of the few in Western Europe. There was more concentration camps in Eastern Europe than there was in Western Europe. Period.
By far.
Like it's not even close.
What was the Dachau? I think it was one of the big ones.
I don't know the specific names of them.
Dachau was 3rd biggest, if I recall right, 2nd or 3rd. I remember it because there was a video I did related to a battle at the end of the war that was right next to Dachau. So yeah, that one was in Austria.
What battle was it? So you and Nick can fucking
the Battle of Castle.
I can sit here and be quiet for a minute.
Castle Litter. Yep. I made a video about that. It's a great story. It's fantastic.
I'm nervous to make it.
You're the only person on the podcast that just actually lifts weights. So like,
but. Carrying the weight of the silence is just
Jody over here bench pressing silence.
what's your max bench? What's your max bench is 9 minutes of not talking.
Just showing up.
Hi, Cody. So let me ask, why are you afraid to make the Itter video?
Because the amount of nuance required to be able to say things like, hey, there was this time where America teamed up with the German military.
Hold on. I got you. Because I want to see your take on it. So I did the video.
Well, this is interesting considering current events.
Shut up. Shut up. Dang it.
Don't look to your left. Don't look to your left.
Yeah. I'm pretty good at this on this show.
I know. Don't you fucking batty me.
I just pull focus on you. You get straight right now.
I can almost hear his voice.
Did you just say I had a bad take?
So, when I was explaining it, I didn't get flagged for this, and I do think this is the historical context. At the end of World War II, Germany had exhausted the majority of its fully aged, trained fighting forces. Like, this was in 45. They were throwing whoever they could, like,
they were
15, 16-year-old kids with rifles out into the field, right? So the difference, and what differentiates Itter so much, is the Wehrmacht, which was the army effectively, was composed of like children, fighters who were raised in like the schools of the Third Reich, like pushed onto the fields. And the SS was made up of the officers who ran the Dachau concentration camp. The officers realized that they would not be favorable in a trial after the war, so they were going to fight to the last man. But several soldiers of the Wehrmacht realized that the Americans weren't just executing prisoners and they could probably surrender. So a Wehrmacht officer who was effectively leading an army of high schoolers, or a station of high schoolers, realized that maybe he doesn't want them to get killed over nothing, so he surrenders and goes to the American side. And there was a prison, Castle Litter. I mean, you know the story. Nearby Dachau, where the SS guards were planning to attack. So, well, they had just evacuated it. Wehrmacht general officer gets the Americans to go help. SS comes to attack, and the Wehrmacht helps the Americans get the prisoners out of the castle. Yeah, I think as long as you play into the nuance of like, because it's not saying you're not saying in that like, oh, Germany wasn't.
As you explain this, could you
Who are
shift
you?
your chair closer
Who are you?
this way?
Do I know you?
You're starting to hurt my feelings.
Like, man, he did 48 minutes talking to everyone. Now he just shifted completely to the.
you committed to the bit, and I wanted to fucking sewer slide.
Continue on this story though. So you have your different.
Oh no! I was at the end of it.
My whole concern is just you have to actually have the nuance to be able to say like, hey, there's varying grades of evil when it comes to Germans in World War II. Some of them were 16-year-old kids that didn't have a choice, and some of them were, political radicals that actually believed in that shit. But you can't have opinions like that on the internet.
The way you explain it isn't in such a way to say that like, oh, Germany wasn't bad at some parts. It's to say that Germany was so wicked that they were using effectively meat for the war machine. Anyone who could hold a rifle was pushed to the front lines. During the Battle of Berlin, there's stories of some like artillery positions where the average age of the soldier was 14. Like just absolutely horrific war crimes that were being committed. And it's not to say that, it's not like, oh, Germany wasn't so bad. It's that they were so bad that there were people in this position.
And it realistically, it wasn't like Germany was so bad necessarily. It's just like you have 1,000 people in charge, roughly at the top.
Yeah, the German government. Yeah. Of course.
Everyone else is told Germany is in danger. Your homeland is being invaded. You have to protect yourself. Or you have to protect your homeland. It's a common line that's been told as long as humanity's existed.
Yeah, there's like a lot of people who like you said, several people who like lived down the country lane were handed a rifle and told to march. They didn't know like the gravity of what was happening. The people who do not get that excuse is like the SS officers and people like that responsible. Yeah, so that's why I think the Castle Vitter would work, because there is that distinguishing. Like they had no excuse. They knew what was coming.
I mean, you even get like in the South during the Civil War, it's like people think like, oh, the South fought for slavery. It's like 4% of Confederate soldiers own slaves.
Yeah,
on 4% of the South.
Yeah, on like the government level, yeah, definitely. But like when it comes to like the individual soldiers, the people who were marching, these guys couldn't read or write. Most of them, they lived in the backwoods. Yeah, I mean it's like that with any war. People are victims of some rich man's game. They're just pawns in a fight.